Good evening, I'm Adrian Arsenault.
And I'm Andrew Chang. Tonight, warnings to Canadians about the Delta variant for the fall and beyond.
You're pretty much going to get exposed to it almost for sure.
What you need to know, vaccinated or not.
Also tonight, Canada's promise to thousands of Afghans is in doubt.
To get many people out, as many as we'd want, is going to be almost impossible in the coming weeks.
Campaign messages for voters worried about affordability.
They understand that we don't have a place to move into right now.
Rosemary's here with that issue.
And questions for Jeopardy about its new hosts.
I mean, if you're trying to screw up the legacy of a long-running show, this is the textbook now on how to do it.
We'll take damage control for 1,000. This is The National.
Well, 18 months into a global pandemic, we can all be forgiven for leaning in to summer. After all, cases have come down and restrictions have loosened.
But you might want to listen to new warnings about the Delta variant, that even the fully vaccinated need to be on alert. Forget the complacency of lazy summer days. Look at today's case rate. Canada hasn't seen a daily number this high since the end of May. And look at the trend. Over the past week, across the country, the number of COVID cases has been shooting up.
And today, some sobering words of caution from health experts about the fourth wave of COVID-19. Our health reporter, Christine Birak, explains why everyone is at risk.
Get ready for fall. Infectious disease experts say your risk of running into the coronavirus is rising, whether you're vaccinated or not.
Unless you literally just lock yourself away and live in a bubble for the next like a year or two, you're pretty much going to get exposed to it almost for sure.
The highly contagious Delta variant is now responsible for over 80% of infections in Canada.
So there's a lot of worry about Delta.
Experts say what sets Delta apart is how much virus is produced by people who are infected. One study found Delta replicates and hits peak virus levels much faster than other variants, and that's why being vaccinated really matters.
If you're vaccinated, you start controlling the virus and killing it off, basically. If you're unvaccinated, you just keep going up and up and up, and potentially you can develop very severe disease.
Experts say unvaccinated people are far more vulnerable to Delta, and they shed the virus for longer stretches of time.
I think that is kind of what the reality of where we're at, and it feels like we're kind of running out of time to protect people, with vaccine.
Since vaccination started, nearly 85% of people hospitalized with COVID-19 have been unvaccinated. Less than 1% were fully vaccinated.
Suddenly, I came down the shaking chills hard enough that I had a hard time writing. If you looked at my penmanship, you'd think I was on a moving train.
American doctor Mark Nayak had a breakthrough infection. Even though vaccines show our immune system a preview of the invader so it knows what to attack, some people can still feel sick and may transmit the virus for a day or two while their immune cells work to clear the virus.
Breakthrough cases have an average symptom duration of 2.7 days, and I was 2.5.
So, hey, Christine, I guess the difficult question here is, with Delta fueling this ongoing fourth wave, should we expect another lockdown in the fall?
Listen, we're nowhere near lockdowns right now, but I did speak with two infectious disease experts about Delta, and they both said, yes, if cases rise dramatically, lockdowns could happen, but they're completely avoidable, and the trigger is hospitalizations. We know that come fall, schools will reopen, Canadians will move back inside, and cases will rise. But we also know that masks, distancing, proper ventilation can bring them back down. We also know that vaccines can clear that virus out of our systems quickly and keep people out of hospital. So we have all the tools to save lives and prevent lockdowns, but we have to use them.
CBC's health reporter, Christine Birak, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
The Delta variant appears to be to blame for a growing COVID-19 crisis in the Northwest Territories, where there are at least 169 active cases.
Within the last 3 days, we've had more cases than we've had since the beginning of the pandemic.
The outbreak started at an event in Fort Good Hope and quickly spread to at least 6 other communities. Officials say it's certain to travel further. With healthcare resources stretched to the limit, the territory has called on the Red Cross and the federal government for help. Now, a member of Ontario's Progressive Conservative Party has been kicked out of caucus after failing to meet a party-imposed deadline to get a COVID-19 vaccine.
I choose to exercise this autonomy over my own body while continuing to work hard for the people of Ontario.
And so Rick Nichols will now sit as an independent. Premier Doug Ford says another unvaccinated caucus member will remain with the party. She provided proof of a medical exemption.
Effective October 30th, it will be mandatory for all City of Toronto employees to have received both doses of a COVID-19 vaccine.
Toronto Mayor John Tory has set that deadline for nearly 40,000 city staff. Employees will need to provide either a proof of vaccination or a medical exemption. Toronto's Transit Commission imposed a similar mandate on its 16,000 workers. Union officials say they will fight it.
Well, to the federal election now, and an issue that hits people across the country. Canada's skyrocketing cost of living. Whether it's housing or the price of goods, affordability is a concern for a lot of people. So Evan Dyer shows us how the parties are responding.
This campsite has been home for the Boyles family since they were evicted from their previous place.
They just think we're camping for the summers. They don't understand that we don't have a place to move into right now.
But this is neither a vacation nor a real solution. The campground will close in a month.
Since we haven't had to look for a place in 10 years, seeing the different prices of rent was a little shocking too.
And most of the places that they're building nowadays are just 2 bedrooms. And they're calling it affordable housing, and that's $1,500.
At least 8 out of 10 Canadians say they're worried at least a little bit about the cost of living and affordability in their lives. And when we ask them how important would that issue be to their vote, it's the top issue.
Our plan is to build 500,000 new homes that are within people's budgets.
The politicians are talking about it, and there's a reason. The cost of living in July increased 3.7% over last year, the biggest jump in almost 20 years.
With people going back in to purchase various goods throughout the economy, but businesses not able to respond with supply increases, then price increases is kind of a natural result.
It's not just rents. The average Canadian family will spend $700 more on food this year than last year, the biggest increase on record.
This is a real issue facing families, and Mr. Trudeau doesn't concern himself with these issues because he doesn't understand the impact it has.
Conservatives are making it a central plank of their campaign.
We actually will give Canadians a break. We will put pressure to get wages up and prices down.
I think all three parties are targeting pocketbook issues. They're targeting them in different ways with different policy proposals and in different areas.
None of them actually have a clear advantage.
Pocketbook issues always matter, and the party that can convince electors it'll make life more affordable will reap the rewards in votes. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
Liberal leader Justin Trudeau had the cost of living and health care on the agenda today and a spending promise for a sector hit hard by COVID-19.
We'll invest $9 billion to continue addressing the shortfalls in Canada's long-term care sector.
The money would come as part of a Liberal plan to nationalize long-term care standards across the country. But the Bloc Québécois leader said such a plan would violate Quebec's jurisdiction. Yves-François Blanchet said Ottawa should instead increase healthcare transfers.
Now, some Canadians see a direct line from economic to social concerns. Take the issue of gun violence. People in one area of Montreal are demanding action, not just on the guns themselves, but on the reasons people may turn to them. Alison Northcott explains.
Eliakout Shukrat says people in her neighborhood are tired of talk but no action from political leaders. After a fatal shooting near her home, she helped launch a committee of Mothers Against Violence. She says she wants to stay in her neighborhood and fight to make it safer.
On a toujours cette inquiétude. Qu'est-ce qu'ils font nos enfants? Est-ce qu'ils rentrent à la maison? Est-ce qu'il y aura des coups de feu en rentrant, à la sortie, à la rentrée de l'école? C'est vraiment, il y a de l'inquiétude, de la peur aussi.
Montreal has seen a number of fatal shootings this summer.
Insécurité alimentaire, désert de santé.
Community groups say more needs to be done to address the root causes. Ricardo Gustave says there's been too much focus on policing and not enough on community organizations that help people access jobs, healthcare services, and food.
Investir aussi dans des structures sociales qui pourraient
Invest in social structures, he says, that can bring the community together.
A lot of focus should be put on like school and education. I feel like education is key.
A few blocks away, outside an organization handing out backpacks for back to school. Parent Nora Filali says her daughter has been woken up at night by the sound of gunshots. And while she says governments have taken action, she wants her kids to feel safe. Earlier this week, Montreal Mayor Valérie Plante called on federal party leaders to say what they will do about gun violence in cities like Montreal.
It's not a solution that we can fight ourselves. They need to jump in. That's it.
I'm fighting for this youth, Shukrad says. She wants action from all levels of government and soon, before there's more violence. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
The Defense Department confirmed this evening that armed forces personnel are once again at the airport in Kabul, set to airlift those seeking refuge. But Justin Trudeau made a frank admission today about how many people they can help.
We will get some, certainly. But to get many people out, as many as we'd want, is going to be almost impossible in the coming weeks.
The main obstacle, he said, is the Taliban blocking people from reaching the airport. The government has a list of about 6,000 people hoping to get out. You are about to see just how hard it is to get to that airport. Carolyn Dunn spoke with one Canadian trapped in Kabul who doesn't even dare try.
Throngs of desperate people on the streets hoping to make it into the airport in Kabul. Fearful about their future, their safety. Others can't risk being seen. Like Afghan Canadian Narjis Osman. She says she and the 14 Afghan nationals who staff her NGO already have a target on them.
Right now they're searching homes, the Taliban. They're saying that anybody that's worked with NATO or foreigners, and they're going home to home.
Osman, who ran for political office in Afghanistan, says she was in the process of renewing her Canadian passport when the embassy abruptly shut down. Her attempts to get help from the Canadian government have gone nowhere, she says, and there are no prospects for her or her employees to get to Canada.
It feels like you're in a game of Russian roulette.
But defiance is in the air. This protest would never have happened the last time the Taliban controlled Afghanistan, let alone be led by a vocal woman. The Taliban should kneel before us, she says. We will never kneel before them. Among those willing to fight back, the mayor of Kabul.
Not running away. I mean, this is my country. Where should I go? Where do you want me to go? Just go and hang on the landing gear of an airplane and leave the country? No. We're here. If we don't stay and we create the void, then who are going to be the advocates? Who are going to be talking about rights and liberties and other things that we want from the Taliban?
But these are early days, and it remains to be seen how much resistance the Taliban will tolerate, if any. Carolyn Dunn, CBC News, Washington.
Well, today, Afghan sports officials confirmed that a teen athlete fell to his death on Monday. You may remember this scene of desperate people trying to climb aboard a U.S. Air Force jet as it taxied toward takeoff. Zaki Anwari, a member of the youth national football team, was among those who died in that frantic bid for freedom. And an Afghan Paralympian in Taekwondo has been pleading for help to get to Japan for the Games, which begin on Tuesday. Zakia Kudadadi wants to revive her dream of becoming her country's first female competitor at the Paralympic Games, but with no commercial flights leaving Afghanistan, getting out on her own has been next to impossible. Now, one group in Afghanistan is particularly fearful of the country's new rulers. The Hazara are one of the biggest ethnic minorities there. They know very well the deadly wrath of the Taliban. Stephen D'Souza has that story.
This is us before Taliban came.
Watching the Taliban overrun Afghanistan brings back a rush of painful memories for Helena Bachman.
It's pain and disappointment that this has come to, and also fear what's coming up.
She was just 11 years old when the Taliban captured her home city of Mazar-e Sharif in 1998. A massacre followed, thousands were killed.
My brother was this.
Made even more horrific because the Taliban targeted her ethnic group, the Hazara. She worries history will repeat itself.
I talk to my cousins back home now. They're afraid of being taken away by Taliban soldiers because they're young girls and not married.
The Hazara are one of the largest ethnic minorities in Afghanistan. Long persecuted, they've been especially targeted for attacks by the Taliban, who are hardline Sunni Muslim. The Hazara are Shia. Ali Mirzad has worked for years to raise awareness of the Hazara in Canada. So he was disappointed when Canada announced its expanded resettlement plan for endangered Afghans with no specific mention of Hazars.
We're deeply worried and concerned that our people would be left out.
Like Mirzad, Bahman has been working frantically to check on family and friends in Afghanistan.
We hope that it is not some calmness before some storm.
Mirzad hopes to pressure the immigration minister to take up their cause. He says Hazars know better than anyone what the Taliban are capable of.
People still bear the scars and the trauma of the 90s, and we just can't trust them.
My mother is...
Those scars are what has Bahman fearing the worst.
We are expecting... we are afraid of a genocide coming.
She says Canada must step up and not abandon the most vulnerable. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, Vaughan, Ontario.
To the relief efforts in Haiti now, and more reporting from our CBC News crew on the ground. Tonight, the focus is on the plight of people who almost 6 full days after the devastating quake are still waiting for help. Once again, Ellen Moreau shows us what that looks like.
In the ruins of a home, resignation that the help this community so desperately needs may never come.
As far as I'm concerned, we are gone.
This is Cavaillon, a rural town devastated by the earthquake. So many homes here no longer livable, a 300-year-old church destroyed in mere seconds, and so many fearing what next.
C'est ta maison? C'est ta maison.
This man tells us there were 4 people in his house when the earthquake struck. His pregnant daughter was seriously injured. His wife tells us the family fears her daughter's baby, her grandchild, won't make it. When your children suffer, it's very difficult, she says. We're sleeping out in the streets and scared of aftershocks. There's so much damage in this town, but there's been no official response. And that means so many people here have not been able to dig the bodies of their loved ones out from the rubble of their destroyed homes. So great is the need here that any sign of an aid delivery sends people scrambling. This man says he'll never have the means to rebuild himself. Nobody has given us any help. Even a tarp to protect from the rain would help, he says. Food is difficult to come by. Landslides like this one are making it hard to get aid in and hard to get the injured out. Still, food did arrive in nearby Camp Perrin today as hundreds of the displaced lined up, but it barely puts a dent in the suffering. At the Lakai airport, dozens of locals stand waiting, growing angry that more aid isn't coming. We have no president, we have no lawmakers, we have been abandoned, this man living in a nearby camp says. We are just waiting for God. An agonizing wait for help growing more painful every day.
And Ellen, today I gather another challenge. We learned today 2 doctors have been kidnapped. What can you tell us?
Well, that's right, Adrian. One of the doctors is an obstetrician who was on their way to perform an emergency C-section when they were kidnapped. And because they weren't there to perform the surgery, the mother and the baby died. The other doctor is a surgeon who'd been treating earthquake victims. And this type of crime and the fear of it is another layer to why this response is so difficult. It's unclear who exactly is involved in these kidnappings, but gangs do control the main road from Port-au-Prince, the capital capital to Lake Hai and the disaster zone. There's been talks of a truce with the gangs, of negotiations. Some aid has gotten through along that road, but these kidnappings show just how unpredictable the situation is overall. And the victims here, Adrian, besides those doctors, are the people who are languishing in these camps in the rubble of their homes, so desperate for help.
Terrible. Ellen, thank you to you and the crew.
You're welcome.
Well, with wildfires raging across BC this summer, the risk isn't just for people.
These are our family, right? These are our animals that we care for very deeply, so.
Up next, the epic struggle to save a family farm from the flames.
And later, there's already a lot to talk about in the first week of the federal election campaign. Rosie and At Issue are here.
Plus, tough questions for Jeopardy's new host.
I mean, if you're trying to screw up the legacy of a long-running show, this is the textbook now on how to do it.
The growing controversy swirling around Alex Trebek's successor. We're back in 2.
Welcome back. An apology today from Ontario's PC party for sending fundraising letters that looked like bills. The party says it didn't mean to mislead people. The mailing used the word invoice in bold letters and balances due of hundreds of dollars. The party blamed one of its vendors, but didn't say who signed off on the plan. And a Swedish company says it has delivered the world's first green steel, made with hydrogen and without using fossil fuels. It says it will begin full production in 5 years. The making of steel is thought to account for around 8% of global greenhouse emissions. Now, fleeing a wildfire is chaotic enough, but imagine having to herd farm animals to safety as well. This is a scene playing out for ranchers across British Columbia this summer. Brady Strachan with one family's story of escape.
It's easy. I'm not going anywhere till we get this on.
It's a calmer moment for the Chivers family and their 2 horses, Nikki and Spappy. They've taken refuge at a fairground on the edge of Merritt, about 20 minutes from their family farm. It is under a threat of a raging wildfire.
I can feel the heat from here, it's like hot from here.
Grandson Adrian drove 300 kilometers to help, including this harrowing stretch of highway.
There was a lot of flames, a lot of smoke, embers flying around, big embers flying around on the ground from the wind. 70, 80-foot trees candling, completely lit on fire. One was even on fire, falling over.
By the time he arrived, the family had moved their animals to safety. But then came another evacuation order, and they had to go again.
It's really difficult in a stressful situation. The animals can feel the stress off you. You're trying to load them as quickly as possible, keep everybody safe, but some of these horses are 1,000 pounds.
Adrian says tragedy struck when one of their horses, a mare named Cash, refused to go in a horse trailer and reared up.
She went straight over backwards and hit her head and passed away, unfortunately, so huge loss for us. Yeah, so that's where I've been sleeping. Back Uncle's truck here.
At the campground, some of the family are sleeping in their vehicles as they try to take care of the other animals.
The whole family is pretty torn up about it. These are our family, right? These are our animals that we care for very deeply, so.
Here they wait, watching the weather forecast as the fire continues to burn out of control around the valley from multiple sides. The Chivers family is just one of thousands from people living in rural British Columbia who have fled with their animals from the nearly 300 fires ravaging the interior of the province. Many farm families wonder what will be left of their farms and the area around them when they're finally able to return. Brady Strachan, CBC News, Merritt, British Columbia.
Well, meanwhile, it's been a shaky start for the new host of a TV institution.
It's like, well, if you did your analysis, wouldn't you have found what he said?
Coming up, why Alex Trebek's replacement could be putting the show's legacy in jeopardy.
Plus, my son said it smelled like a rat had crawled away and died somewhere, so I'd agree with that.
Lovely. A little later, we'll show you what's causing such a big stink in Vancouver.
But first, Rosie's here with At Issue.
Hey, Andrew, tonight we're going to talk about what Canadians need to know about the early days of this campaign and a social issue that has already re-emerged.
I am pro-choice. I have a pro-choice record.
Chantal, Andrew, Althea, and Elamine. We'll talk about that and more. That's coming up. 5 days into the federal election campaign, and things look a lot different than they did in 2019. From the masks to the elbow bumps, it's hard to escape the pandemic reality, and it's already led to some tense moments on the streets.
Are you here to unmask our children? Are you here to unmask our children?
Smaller or virtual events have so far replaced large rallies, and the leaders are traveling less too. Still, some familiar issues are already making their way into this election. So what kind of impact is this having on the leaders' momentum or lack thereof? How's the campaign playing out in these first number of days? It's Thursday, and I'm here with At Issue. Chantal Hébert, Andrew Coyne, Althea Raj, and Elamine Abdulmahmoud, who's going to join us for the duration of the campaign. So that's good. All right, I'm going to start with you this week, Althea. Tell me what strikes you in these first few days of the campaign in terms of the tone and how different it seems to be.
Well, I mean, it's harder to, as you said in the introduction, campaign during COVID when you are not allowed to have big crowds. So that sense of momentum is kind of gone. I'd say from the looks of it, Jagmeet Singh seems to be having a pretty good campaign, but the Liberals and the Conservatives are trying to squeeze him out of the debate. The Liberals who chose this election timing seem actually the least prepared for it. I think partly that might be because Afghanistan has kind of taken the wind from their sails or changed the discussion somewhat. But the conversation they wanted to have about how to build back better and them versus the Conservatives, they have not had a great week. I would say for all their efforts in trying to redefine Aaron O'Toole or to define Aaron O'Toole in the minds of voters, many of whom had no idea who he was, as an anti-vaxxer, as an anti-choice, as an anti-women's rights. I'm not sure those things are landing.
Chantal, same to you, and maybe speak to that decision by the Conservatives to release a platform in these early days. It's happened before, but it's a different kind of strategy.
It's happened before, probably never recently quite as early as in this campaign, but it is a smart move because what it does is it allows the Conservative Party to shift Aaron O'Toole from chief critic of the government to prime minister in waiting. And it provides, rather than give people every day some piece of a puzzle, and at some point in the last campaign, the Conservatives unveiled their entire platform after the debates. So it was a completely different campaign. They believed that they could ride this on carbon pricing. And so why get distracted by the rest of it? It worked only up to a point, given the results. But I agree with Althea. If you're going to call an election that most Canadians are not convinced is needed, you need to hit the ground running. And that is not what the Liberals have done this week. I don't believe that anything that happened this week is going to be totally significant to the result. But for the Liberals, it was a bit of a wasted week.
Andrew, what is your thinking on where we are at this point?
I would echo my colleagues. I think the Liberals look rattled. The Prime Minister is not, I think, on his game. He's looked over the top in some of his rhetoric. He's looked careless in others. For example, when he said he didn't care about monetary policy. And there's been, I think, a definite tightening in the polls. Before the election, you were seeing polls of at least 5, as much as 14 points. You've had a spate of them now showing like maybe 1, 2, 3 points between the parties. I think partly Aaron O'Toole benefits from having such low expectations coming into this. I mean, they couldn't be lower. And if you show up and you don't have horns on, oftentimes in politics, as Justin Trudeau proved in 2015, you can benefit from that. I think they've also benefited from their platform. I don't like it as policy. I think it's a grab bag of gimmicks and utterly complacent on the deficit and the debt and on the long run growth of the economy versus the short run. But there's no doubt that it's fairly shrewd politically and that it does give the Liberals a lot of targets to shoot for.
I want to get Elamine to weigh in on your impressions of this first week.
I mean, I think maybe the thing that we're all reacting to is that there doesn't seem to be a message. There doesn't seem to be a message from most of these leaders so far. I would say that the NDP and Jeopardy have so far had the clearest articulation of what their priorities are. But, you know, we got that large conservative platform 165 pages later. There isn't a defining policy that says this is what we're about. There is a grab bag there. Yeah. There are things to pay attention to, but also a lot of things to poke at. And I think that kind of leaves, whether it's the Liberals or the Conservatives, kind of exposed. And the idea that these parties were ready and waiting for this election and now we're here and there isn't this clear message, that seems surprising to me. But also, it is August, and I'm not sure that anyone is paying attention. I am desperately waiting for the day after Labor Day when maybe something will pique all of our interest. But, you know, if you put out your platform on day 2 and you're not generating the kind of headlines you'd be expecting, maybe that signals trouble, I think.
Chantal, I think wants in there. Then I'll go to Althea. Yeah.
Jean Chrétien unveiled this red book a few days into the campaign in 1993, I think 8 days, so just a bit longer. And at first it didn't create, it didn't move the needle on the polls. But over time, and these things do take time, and I agree with the August thing, so I would circle September 2nd as the official date of the really real campaign, because that is when the TVA debate in French will take place, followed the week after by debates in French and English. And I believe that at that point, when kids are back in school, people will be paying attention. But I totally agree that this week and possibly next week are treading water week. That doesn't mean there is no ground gain, though.
Yeah, and I'll just set an alarm on my calendar. September 2nd is when we should all. Althea.
Yeah, I would say just a flag, though, that this election might be a little bit different because of the large amount of mail-in ballots that everybody expects. And so if you are expecting your supporters, and traditionally you would get them out to advance polls so you can focus on those identified voters that may not be your core supporters on election day. If you're hoping that all your core supporters vote by mail and that all your IDs that you've been doing for the past 6-8 months get out there and vote early so you can cross them off your list and focus on other people, that might change your communication strategy as well.
Okay, when we come back, I'll make Andrew defend his point about Erin O'Toole, and we'll talk about another topic that has emerged here on the campaign trail yet again.
I think it's very clear that the Conservative Party, once again, doesn't understand what pro-choice actually means.
Questions on abortion rights resurface yet again. We'll talk about the leaders' responses. That's right after this.
I'm pro-choice, and we will make sure that women have the ability to make decisions with respect to their health care themselves and make sure that abortion services are available from one coast, from one ocean to the other.
I think it's very clear that the Conservative Party, once again, doesn't understand what pro-choice actually means. Pro-choice isn't the power for doctors to choose. It's the power for women to choose.
So yeah, the abortion issue emerged again on the campaign trail today. I say again because it seems to happen in every election. The Liberals raising questions about conscience rights mentioned in the Conservative Party platform that would allow medical professionals to make decisions about what they're willing to do. Except unlike in 2019, this Conservative leader, as you heard there, has said he is pro-choice. So how did we end up back here yet again? Chantal, Andrew, Althea, and Elamine all back for another round. Elamine, are you surprised to see this playing out again in spite of the fact that Erin O'Toole early on positioned himself as pro-choice?
Not at all. I'm not surprised that this issue is coming up this early. I mean, Chantal earlier mentioned the Red Book. Look, the Conservatives don't have the Red Book. They have Erin O'Toole on the cover of their platform. And that opens them up to being defined, being talked about in this way. And one of the key ways that the Liberals are able to do, as they did last time, is talk about the abortion issue. I still don't understand why the Conservatives are not running with the Conservative brand above the leader. I think that's certainly a stronger brand in this country. But the minute that you try to put a leader out there and a face out there, they're going to open him up to being defined by the Liberals in this way, and they're trying it again.
Andrew?
political parties often like to pretend they have larger differences than they actually do for mutual reasons. So, for example, on the vaccine mandate, each of them was playing to their base with their rhetoric, but if you actually examine the policy, you know, the Liberals' policy is you have to get a vaccine unless you get tested, and the Tory policy is if you get tested, you don't have to get a vaccine, but they wind up being basically the same. You have to either be vaccinated or tested. And I can see Mr. O'Toole doing something of the same with the abortion issue or with this conscience rights issue, where, look, the status quo is doctors are not required to perform abortions or assist to it, et cetera. They are required to provide effective referrals. If you look at the Tory platform, they say, we're going to protect conscience rights of doctors. They don't actually say how far they're going to. If it's just the status quo, if that's all they're really advocating, then the Liberals are in a hard position of saying, would they change the status quo? Would they force doctors to perform abortions? Of course they wouldn't. So the distinction and the difference here is more to do with the emphasis and the rhetoric, and may not actually be that substantive. But I think he may, with that and his resolutely pro-choice stand, he may have blunted the Liberals' attempt to try to make this a wedge issue.
Yeah, I mean, has he left himself open to this, though, Chantal, because there are parts of his party that he does have to keep happy on these issues?
Yes, a majority of his MPs did not vote like him against a bill that some would say was meant to reopen the debate on abortion. The same could be said about conversion therapy. He did spend the leadership campaign telling conservative members who are social conservatives, you'll have a big space in my party and you will be free to try to bring these bills. And Peter MacKay, my main rival, will not do that for you. So having courted them, he's kind of paying the price for that. I do agree with Andrew that I think by saying he is pro-choice up front, this will not last as long, I believe, as it did in the last campaign with Andrew Scheer.
But you can see, Althea, that the Liberals will try and drag this out as long as possible because it's a wedge that has worked for them in the past.
It has. I would remind everybody that actually it's not the Liberals who brought this up. It's Erin O'Toole who brought this up. Right, yes. In announcing his Quebec platform, he chose to say he was pro-choice several times. And so I think in some ways that was the Conservatives, to Andrew's point earlier, that you know, hardly anybody is paying attention, wanting to know what the Liberals had in their arsenal to come at them with. And it's kind of like round one on the abortion issue, but round two and round three are probably going to come much later during this campaign, because to Chantal's point, and she is right, and Erin O'Toole has yet to answer this question, is when you have the majority of your caucus, 2/3 of his caucus, voted in favor of pro-life bill, a bill that sought to criminalize doctors who performed sex-selective abortion. Even in his own caucus, he was told, you cannot regulate a sex-selective abortion. How will you do this? This will make abortions much more difficult. 30 people, 30 members of his shadow cabinet voted against him. So Erin O'Toole on one side with the Liberals and the rest of the Conservative caucus on the other. And when you have the pro-life movement that is entering nomination battles, electing candidates, and then knowing that that is the only way, by electing MPs, Conservative MPs, that they can change the law, that is their mission. They're going to Ottawa with that mission. How can Erin O'Toole promise that a Conservative government would not introduce any abortion restrictive measures if he's giving the green light to his caucus members to do that? And he has yet to distance himself from that position.
Okay, I got to leave it there. Thank you all. We have many more weeks ahead and much more time together. Thank you so much. Chantal, Andrew, Althea, and Ellen Main. Appreciate it.
Okay, Rosie. And Rosemary Barton Live is back this Sunday for a new season. What can we expect?
Yeah, I wasn't going to miss out on any election coverage just because it's August, Andrew. We're obviously going to talk about where things are at in the campaign and try and push forward into this second week. But we're also going to talk about Afghanistan because it has become an issue on the campaign trail, as well as a lot of pressure on the government to try and help more people. So all of that up on Sunday morning.
Okay, thanks, Rosie.
Thanks.
Well, offensive comments from Jeopardy's new host caught on tape, and questions about why he got the job at all.
Why not appeal to this demographic that you haven't before?
Up next, what it all means for the show going forward. But first,
can't believe what happened to me and how sick I was and how close to death I was.
A Calgary woman is calling her experience with COVID-19 a medical miracle. Brenda Crowell became sick in April and developed a deadly blood clot. She ended up in hospital and was considered clinically dead for more than half an hour. That is when doctors turned to a new device, the Indigo Lightning Cat 12.
This procedure has been done in our center before this, as well as in other centers in Canada, but not with this device.
The device lets doctors remove larger blood clots than before using minimally invasive procedures. Ultimately, that was a life-saving change for Crow.
People say there aren't miracles anymore, but there are.
I'm Alameen Abdul Mahmoud. Tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, confronting climate anxiety as the planet gets warmer and the news cycle gets more bleak. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. Replacing Alice Trebek was never going to be easy, but now, less than a month before a big debut, new Jeopardy host Mike Richards is under fire for offensive and sexist comments. Eli Glasner looks at what this means for the long-running quiz show and the new host that many fans didn't even want.
Alex always said that the contestants are the stars of Jeopardy.
That may be, but now the new host has found himself in what you could call double Jeopardy.
Magician Prospero has
First, there was the fan frustration. After an extended run of guest hosts, the surprising announcement of executive producer Mike Richards.
I mean, if you're trying to screw up the legacy of a long-running show, this is the textbook now on how to do it. Did Aaron Rodgers know, or did Ken Jennings know that they were competing for this job, or LeVar Burton, or everyone else, against the executive producer of the show?
A fun final Jeopardy category.
In fact, Richards selected which episodes the team choosing the new host would watch.
Why not appeal to this demographic that you haven't before?
This TV and film critic doesn't think LeVar Burton got a fair shot and has questions.
The Jeopardy people behind the scenes, what they put out when they hired him is, we did the analysis and this is the guy our people want. It's like, well, if you did your analysis, wouldn't you have found what he said?
What she's referring to are reports that Richards used racist and offensive language objectifying women on a 2013-2014 podcast.
Like booby pictures? What are we looking at?
And as the executive producer of Price is Right, Richards was involved in 3 discrimination lawsuits. Today, Richards apologized, saying, "Looking back now, there is no excuse, of course, for the comments I made. I am deeply sorry." Claire McNear literally wrote the book on Jeopardy and broke the story on Richards' actions. She says the current controversy highlights what made Alex Trebek so effective.
He was sort of this mysterious cipher-like figure where, we knew bits and pieces. And of course, he came across as very erudite, very well-educated person who could probably win any game of Jeopardy on any given night.
Sony Pictures has declined to comment while cameras roll on the first official taping with Mike Richards behind the podium. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
Up next, a rare appearance from a rather fragrant plant in Vancouver. You might want to hold your nose for this one. We will bring you all the joy and the disgust coming up in our moment.
The Canadian Elite Basketball Championship this Friday. Back-to-back semifinal games. Niagara River Lions take on the Fraser Valley Bandits, and the Edmonton Stingers face the Ottawa Blackjacks. Tip-off at 7 on CBC Gem.
Well, this fine specimen is known as the Titan arum plant, otherwise known as the corpse flower. Now, in the wild, it's known to bloom once every 10 years, but a Vancouver conservatory is celebrating its second bloom in just 3 years. So the flower, which has been dubbed Uncle Fester by the conservatory, has a distinct smell. Maybe not as floral as some would like. So let's let the people who gave it a whiff explain in our moment.
Stinky! It smells like rotten eggs. Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. For me, it smells like meat, like when it's like old meat that is rotten. Stinky feet.
Smells like dog food.
My son said it smelled like a rat had crawled away and died somewhere, so I'd agree with that.
It's quite putrid. It's a certain set of chemicals that
produce a smell that's likened to rotting fish, rotting meat, dirty laundry, old socks. It's certainly a rare sight, so we hope to see lots of folks from the horticulture community. It's an optimal environment for plant growth, so with the specialized soil mix, fertilizer, and daily maintenance, it has a much better chance of flowering than it does in nature. We've been waiting patiently for the flower to open, and it was very exciting, very exciting.
Now, see, I'm here trying to remember because I moved to Toronto, I think it was in 2018, from Vancouver. And I'm trying to remember if I moved before or after they brought the corpse flower to the conservatory.
So if you ran from it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, or if I missed an opportunity.
Yeah, no kidding.
Either way, yeah.
Listen, you might have to go see it there because there are only 1,000 of them in the wild.
Wow. Huh. I wonder why they don't last so long.
I can't imagine. That is the National for August the 19th. Good night.
Good night.